Alberta has decided to go ahead and harm trans kids in the province by tabling Bill 9 and invoking the Notwithstanding clause so that it can't be challenged in court. Because they know that they are circumventing fundamental rights of Canadians, of Canadian children, in order to push a bigoted ideology onto trans Canadians. Now in Canada, we love to pretend that we're not like the Americans, that we are different. But if we are, why the f are we doing the exact same Republican playbook that we've seen in the US? Because the three bills that they're trying to shield with the Notwithstanding clause in Alberta are almost word for word what we've seen Republicans in the US do to try and cause a genocide against trans people over there. Things that actually harm people and segregate against trans people in order to try and distract from their own failures. In Alberta, the healthcare system right now is being privatized to become more like the US. In Alberta, you had tens of thousands of teachers who were forced back to work against their will and without a proper deal against their workers' rights. And while Bill 9 is saying something around protecting children, it's rich coming from Danielle Smith, who is friends with a literal predator in the US. She doesn't care about the safety of children. She'd rather just see trans kids die as a result of the bills that she pushes. Because bills like these actually get between a doctor and their patients. This is politicians dictating what you as an individual, what you as a parent can and can't do when it comes to your children. But Danielle Smith using their Notwithstanding clause for things that it wasn't meant to be used for in order to circumvent all of your rights, also that she doesn't have to do a thing about fixing Alberta's issues. Now, what can you do? One, call your MPs, even in Alberta, and show up wherever they are. They cannot have a moment of peace as long as they support stuff like this. The other thing is put pressure on the federal MPs because they can do something about this. During the last election, they had promised they would work to limit the Notwithstanding clause so that it can't be used to circumvent people's rights like these. The other thing is making sure your MPs propose legislation which would make it criminal to force outing a trans child, to stop proper health care from being given to trans children, because federal law overrides provincial law. So if they make that a federal crime, Alberta's bills would be null and void in this instance. The other option is considered the nuclear option, as you can see here, which is Section 90 disallowance power, which was last used in 1943 against Alberta because Alberta at the time was trying to ban certain ethnic groups from purchasing lands. And so this would be a repeat of history where Alberta is trying to be segregatory against trans people and barring trans people and trans children specifically from benefiting from the full rights of being a Canadian citizen. That power still exists within the federal government's hands. And while I'm glad it hasn't been used over and over, now's the time to use it to stop authoritarian governments like Danielle Smith's attempt here of trying to implement American-like lifestyle and extremist ideologies on Canadian citizens, because this will result in trans children dying. So please call your MPs wherever they are and pressure them both in your province and federally to do the right thing and stop Alberta's authoritarian takeover. Oh, and f*** you, Danielle Smith. May everything you wish on trans people happen to you.